Good morning, boys and girls. Um, I hope you get a chance to go outside and enjoy the snow. Today is a virtual learning day, so you are required to do the work for each of the subject areas. So make sure you look at what to do for each subject area. Yesterday, I had you read a story and find the theme and write it in a paragraph. I looked at some of your paragraphs. Some of you didn't even do it, so make sure you do that. But others did it, and I know that theme is difficult. And so today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it, and then I'm going to allow you to um, go and unsubmit it and correct it if you choose, which I would choose if I were you. Okay, so first of all, if you are struggling with finding a theme, go back to January, week at a glance, January 18th to the 25th. This is when I started working on theme. And you can watch this video lesson because this will remind you how to find a theme. That'll give you some tips. It also has the examples of theme, the reference sheet that I gave you. Um, I should have had you take that home last Friday, but I do provide all of that online. So um, if you want to look at that to help you pick a theme, that will help also. So let's go to our story. It's called The New Kid. Grace had been attending Flat Rock Elementary for 2 weeks, and so far her experience wasn't very good. Grace had high hopes on that first day, but looking back now, she realized how silly she had been. I should have known the other kids weren't going to be nice. They've been together all year, and I'm just a new weird kid. Who would be nice to me? Grace had to move schools late in the school year because her mom got a new job. Flat Rock Elementary School was a very small school in a very small town. Most of the kids had attended the same school their whole life, so Grace wasn't sure how to make friends. She mostly kept to herself and stayed quiet, hoping not to call attention to herself. Grace's mom began to get concerned. Her normally happy, outgoing daughter was now quiet and withdrawn. At school, Grace sat alone at lunch and usually sat by herself on the bus. She was counting down the days until summer, when she wouldn't have to be embarrassed every day because no one would talk to her. Katie was a classmate of Grace's who noticed Grace didn't talk to anyone. She watched her during lunch one day as Grace unpacked her lunch at an isolated table. Katie decided to invite Grace to eat lunch with her friends. When Grace came over, Katie and her friends were eager to hear about Grace's previous school and what it was like compared to Flat Rock Elementary. From that day on, Grace and Katie became good friends, and Grace never sat by herself at lunch. Okay, I think that's again, but I can't see that. And you guys have the paper, so it makes sense to be at lunch again. Okay, let's look at the actions. First of all, in the beginning, Grace right away says, I know that, well, at first she was excited, right? But then she says, I should have known the other kids weren't going to be nice. They've been together all year, and I'm just a new weird kid. So a lot of you were saying it was about friendship or whatever, but remember, it needs to be a complete thought and it needs to be a complete theme. So don't just say that it needs to be good. It's good to have good friends because that's not what this is about. Okay. Yes, it is definitely about friendship, but it needs to be complete. There are two ways to look at this. You can look at it from the fact that Grace, she didn't help the matters out. It's not like it was only the other kid's fault that she didn't have friends. She's the one that sat by herself. She's the one that said that she knew that those kids would be that they wouldn't be nice to her. So she already thought, she already had this judgment that that the kids weren't going to be nice to her. So she decided to go sit by herself. So what was Grace doing? Okay. And then if you say that, Grace was judging them, right? So we learn, hey, we shouldn't judge. But don't just say don't judge. Why? Because she didn't have friends. So if you judge people before you get to know them, right, you're going to miss out on friendship. So you can look at it from Grace's point of view, and um, the evidence would be where she would judge them, and then how she didn't have anybody, right? She sat by herself. So you'd have a piece of evidence that proved that she judged them without getting to know them, and then a piece of evidence that she didn't have friends because she missed out on friendship because of that. So it would be, your evidence would be from the beginning of the story, right? Um, so that's one lesson that we learned, right, from the beginning of the story. Now let's go to Katie and what she did, and how did that help? So look at Katie's actions did, right? She went and she talked to Grace. She saw someone sitting by herself, and she went over and she talked to them. And because she went over and she talked to Grace, they became friends. So when you're thinking of a theme, think of what was that Katie did. I mean, you're not going to say the theme of the story is Katie went and talked to Grace and therefore they became friends. No, because that doesn't apply to everyone. But what did she do? She showed kindness, right? Um, she was a good friend. So something like, she showed kindness, and then what was the result? She got a new friend. So think of that, how you could write that as a theme. Do showing kindness may turn into, uh, if you show kindness to others, it turns into a lasting friendship, or um, you can make a new friend or something like that. Or if you if you're a good friend, then you'll have good friends, because Katie proved that she was a good friend. So be a good friend to others, and you will meet, and you'll have good friends, or something like that. Okay. So make sure that when you are choosing your theme, that is a complete theme. Don't just give me one part of it. Remember, don't just say, don't judge others before you get to know them. Well, why shouldn't I? Okay. So if you judge others, then you'll miss out on friendships or something like that. Um, if you're going to do the judging one, it's going to be, your evidence is going to be up here. If you do the be a good friend and you'll get good friends or something like that, or show kindness and you'll make lasting friendships, that's going to be down here with Katie's actions. Okay. Um, so show how Katie was a good friend, show how Katie was kind, and then prove that they became good friends. So those are your two pieces of evidence. So I hope that helps. And what I want you to do, also make sure that you are using your transitional statements. So you can either use according to the evidence and give me, or according to the evidence, according to the text, or according to the story, or according whatever, um, and then give me your evidence. Or some people were saying one piece of evidence that proves my theme is, and that's fine too. And then another piece. Do not start your sentence with two pieces of evidence, because they are going to be two separate sentences. So make sure you say one piece of evidence that proves my theme is, and then your next sentence is another piece of evidence. I want everyone today, and this isn't going to take you long because you should have done it already yesterday. So I want everyone today to unsubmit your paragraph, read it over, make sure that it aligns with what we just talked about today. Make sure that you just read it out loud, like actually read it out loud to someone or to yourself, and make sure that you wrote what you wanted to write. Because some of you, if you would just read it, would realize that you are not writing sentences. Okay. Make sure that you start your sentences with capital and period, end with periods. um, this is the second day that I'm allowing you to work on this. So I am going to grade these because I am helping you out a lot with this. So make sure that you take the time to just unsubmit it, read it, and make sure that um, it followed everything that we just talked about. Okay, now there's one more thing that I want you to do today, which also will not take you long, but I want everyone to go on the Renaissance website, which of course I'm logged out because I've been on it, but go on, let me show you exactly where to go. So if you go to your um, Google Classroom, it's right here. It has a link right here, right? Your AR goal. I set all of your AR goals. And what I did was if you did not meet your goal last quarter, for the most part, I just kept it what the computer assigned you. Okay. So those of you who did not meet your goal last quarter, it's pretty much what the computer assigned you. But for some of the others, I raised them. In fact, many of you, I raised the goal, not by a lot. Some of you by a lot. And I might have gone too far with some of you. So I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with um, the goals that I assigned. Because we are losing time here, I am just going to print out the goals that I have. I'm just going to give them to you. I'll still try to find time to meet with you to go over the STAR test that so that you can see the results. But I want you to have your goals before that. Okay. So I am printing these out now. Okay. And I'm going to just write in your dates are the first goal is February 26th, and then your final goal will be due on April 1st. So make sure that you agree with the goal. If you do not, if you think it's too high or if you think it's too low, make sure you look at the calendar and you have until April 1st is the end of the quarter. So make sure that it's something you are able to get by April 1st. But if you do not agree with the goal, if you think I went too high, because some of you I think maybe I did, um, or if some of you I think I probably went too low, make sure I will ask you tomorrow when we're at school, and um, you need to come to me and we will change your goal. Okay. So your job for today is to unsubmit the paragraph that you wrote about the new kid, or actually complete the paragraph about the new kid. Read your paragraph out loud. Make sure it's a paragraph. Okay. Make sure you indent. And I know that in a box you can't push tab, but you can hit the space bar like 8 times, and that will indent. Um, and then correct that. Make sure your theme is complete. Okay. Give me a complete theme. And then submit it again after that. Okay. And then I will start grading them. So if you have any questions, um, either send me questions through Dojo or through Google Classroom. I know yesterday I missed some until later, and I apologize for that. I will try to be better today of checking those Google Classroom comments. All right. Enjoy your day.